Last season in 2024-25, we saw some improvement on the blue line for the St. Louis Blues, you know, compared with recent years prior, with the additions of Cam Fowler and Philip Broberg and Ryan Suter, as well as a career year from Colton Parayko, the emergence of Tyler Tucker as a solid option on the third line or the third pair, excuse me. So, how will the blue line follow up on that performance in 2025-26? Should Cam Fowler be extended? Should he receive an extension on his current contract, which will expire after this season? What's next for Philip Broberg? How will he follow up on his breakout year? Can Logan Mailloux, recently acquired Logan Mailloux, establish a role for himself on the third pair or even higher? Uh, Today we're going to talk about we're going to take a look at the Blues decor for the upcoming season, preview what it's going to look like, all that and more today on Note News. Welcome into another episode of Note News. We're a St. Louis Blues podcast. We go live twice a week talking all things Blues, and it's the off season right now, so we're doing a lot of previewing the upcoming season, occasionally doing some fun concept episodes and stuff like that. So if you want to join us live, we'd love to have you join the chat and the conversation. We like to work that in as much as possible when we go live. We'd love to have you, and if you want to listen back after the fact, we post all our episodes that way as well. So the best way to do that is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video as well. I think we are like crazy close. I'm looking right now at our sub count. I think we're like 5 away from 500, which is a big milestone for us and something we've been working towards for a long time. It's the first monetization threshold. So long story short, if you would hit that button if you haven't, we'd appreciate it. And if you share the channel with someone we'd appreciate that as well. So that goes a long way. And thanks to everyone that has supported us so far. You can also follow, rate, and review wherever you listen, Spotify and Apple, and then follow us on socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at No News Pod. Post a lot of other great stuff over there. Alec, just to sort of get started here, get the conversation going. It's MLB trade deadline. We're not a baseball podcast, obviously, but if you do like the Cardinals, go check out Deal on the Cards. We're an affiliate of Deal on the Cards. They do a lot of great stuff. Thoughts on Helsley being gone, Matz being gone, and the return for those guys?
It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. Yeah, I mean, it kind of all knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Not really surprised. So I'm not really super upset. I think the return is pretty good.
Yeah.
And come on, Mets, get a home run.
That's an elite reference. Well done. Yeah. Bummer that the Cards are here again, but I think they probably made the right call.
For sure.
Yeah. Well said, Rob. Cardinals could learn a lot from the Blues front office. Exactly. I agree. I think the Blues have had a great offseason. I think in a lot of ways, the Blues front office, especially in recent years, is like kind of been setting the standard for teams in St. Louis when it comes to a good front office, a good public facing presence and things like that. And they continue to build on that this offseason, making some key additions and a couple, medium-sized to big-sized moves, depending on your perspective on those things. But bringing in Pia Suter was sort of the jewel of the offseason, I guess. Nick Bukestad, a depth option, and then the Bolduc Mailloux trade, infamous Bolduc Mailloux trade, which we will see how that pans out. We're going to talk about Logan Mailloux a lot today. But really what we want to do today is sort of preview what the blue line looks like for the Blues, who's going to play where, what can we expect from these guys, and just sort of answer some questions and have a discussion around each of the players that will factor into the blue line this upcoming season. So Alec, where do you want to start this conversation? Do you want to start it like at the top with Cam Fowler, Colton Parayko, or would you prefer to start at the bottom and work our way up?
Let's start at the top down. I think that makes the most sense. I think
Sure.
no one better than arguably the face of Blues hockey over the past 10 years or so.
Sure.
Colt 55.
That's right. That's right. Colton Parayko had a great year in 2024-25, a career year offensively speaking, right? He had 16 goals and 20 assists for 36 points. That is, let's see, a career high in points. He's hit 35 three times, but he beat that by one. Um, and it was by far his high in goals scored with 16. His previous best was 10, which he hit three times. So really a great year offensively from Pareko. He got did he get any Norris votes? What was the final tally?
No, I don't believe he did.
Okay. Well, there was a second there where we thought he might receive some votes because he was
I
just
think
having
he
a
missed too much time and
yeah, and
is a
that's the other
perennial
thing.
snub candidate.
Yeah, that's the other thing too is that he only played 64 games and still put up the best offensive season of his career. Was one of the Blues' best players, obviously, but really like great all around season
Yes.
from Pareko. Um, yes, go put on your Pareko jersey if anyone has one. If you're not wearing it, because this guy just rocks. And I think, I mean, on one hand, Blues fans like really know who this guy is and respect him and all that. But like on the other hand, I think even we don't talk about Pareko, you know, in a way that reflects like what he means to this team, what he means to this
Yeah.
franchise, and the value he adds. And um, I think that was highlighted, more than ever this year. So like just an all around fantastic year from Colton Pareko. I'm really curious to see how he's going to follow up on this next year. I could see him taking a step back. I would hope that he could replicate it or even improve upon it. But um, yeah, thoughts on Pareko's year and um, looking forward to 25-26.
Yeah, I think with Pareko, I don't really know that I do expect to see a step back from him. I think he had a fantastic season, scoring as much as he did. You could say his 12.8 shooting percentage is by far the highest mark of his career. I am, and perhaps that does come down a little bit, but I would expect the shot attempts to go up because I am a Jim Montgomery believer. And this is going to be a big part of the discussion today for me because if you watch Jim Montgomery hockey, there's two things that are really that really stand out about the system of hockey. And
Yeah,
it's kind of like, a lot of baseball references today. It's kind of like pitching backwards. It's like reverse line usage. It's that your forwards are active in the defensive zone, pestering puck carriers, interrupting passing lanes so that they can create offense going the other way. So your forwards play defense and your defensemen play offense, where they get more pinched up towards the high slot area or right down Main Street, getting activated more in the play. So that's what I mean when I say like reverse hockey. And with Pareko, he absolutely benefited from that. Cam Fowler is typically a guy who you see take those offensive chances, but he likes to create his chances from the blue line, where he likes to throw pucks down low and what have coined his quantity chances. He likes to take by just doing a bunch of stuff up top at the top of the zone. Um, that leaves Colton Parayko to be the Jim Montgomery piece where he can continue to be active. And so I don't expect Parayko to have a 12.8 shooting percentage because that would be absurd for the whole year. But I do expect him to take more shot chances and get more opportunities to score. And he's proven that he has a finishing ability in this last season. Showed us all that he can finish way better than we thought he could. So that under a Jim Montgomery system, I'm looking for a big year from Colton Parayko, and I would expect him to maybe not take a step forward, but if he can make a lateral move entering his age 32 season, that would be a fantastic year for Parayko. I think he could even push maybe 20 goals, probably more like 18, but I think if you look at his pace that he was on If you see how he gets used in a Jim Montgomery system, how he gets used playing next to a Cam Fowler who likes to throw passes in dangerous areas where Parayko can fill up by being a big body skating towards the net with his fluid skating ability and still being the excellent defender we all know him, I'm expecting a big year from Parayko.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well said. I like it. I like it a lot. I think what was most impressive is that like he was able to sort of play into that Monty system without really sacrificing his defense all that much. I think he was really well balanced in the value he provided to this team. Um, ate up a lot of difficult
He's
minutes
such a
on
good skater backwards.
yeah, for sure, and he played a lot of difficult minutes on both sides of the puck. He was going up against some of the best players in the league. Um, just pulling up some stats for Colton Parayko. This one is interesting. So looking at there's a few qualifiers here. All right, so 5-on-5 defenseman with a minimum of 1,000 minutes time on ice is what I've plugged in here. Guess who leads the league in individual goals per 60? It's Colton Parayko. Like he's above
Wow.
Jacob Chikrin, Kale McCarr, Zach Werenski. Um, Now, I'm not saying that offensively he provides the same value as a Kale McCarr or a Zach Werenski, but I think the offensive season we saw from him flew under the radar in sort of the mainstream media or whatever you want to say. Like, I think he deserves a lot more recognition than he got for the season he had. And I think if he, like you said, if he hadn't been hurt, maybe he could have, or maybe he would have received some of those Norris votes because I think he's definitely deserving of some recognition for the season he had. So yeah, like fantastic year from CP55.
Yeah, and he gets the recognition from his peers, which I think is
Right.
really funny. He is a five-time vote getter for the Lady Bing Trophy in his
Yeah.
10 seasons, which is really funny. Last season finished as his highest finish at ninth. As just like the most outstanding player or the most perhaps overperforming player in the league that the players vote on for that one, unless I'm mistaken. But I'm pretty certain that's how it goes. Regardless,
Yeah.
um, yeah, Pareko. I expect the goals to be there. I think he can get north of 10 goals, like I said, pretty easily. I think that could get closer to 20. And if you do that, plus if he's still defensively providing what he always has and always will, well, maybe not always, but for the bulk of his career has and will continue to, there's no reason to think that should drop off. And the big thing, as I believe it was Matt in the chat said, yeah, as long as he stays healthy this year, that points total should absolutely skyrocket past 36. Probably get closer to 40 and be another career year for Pareko. As yeah, the chat is saying he was missing during the big win streak during when they were
Hmm.
scoring 4, 5, 6 goals a night like it was nothing. Can you imagine the points Pareko would have had in a run like that? So
Yeah,
should be a big year for Colt 55. I'm super excited.
for sure. I think if there's like if there's not much that I can say about Pareko where I'm like I want more out of him. I think the only thing is uh, just the assist column. I feel like as many minutes as he's playing, he should be able to sort of generate more offense with the assists, perhaps. Like, and I don't know if that's unfair. Like, I don't know if that's just that might not really be like part of his game or part of his bag. He's able to score goals and um, play solid defense, and if he continues to do both of those at a borderline, I don't want to say elite, but like at a fantastic level, then that's good enough out of a top pair guy. But like that's the only thing I can think is just the assists maybe. And he's still like he's still putting up a fair bit. But anyways, that's my only thing. You
Yeah,
want
I
to
think we
pivot
can
to
move on.
Cam Fowler now? Uh, Cam is an interesting one. Obviously acquired. What was it like October or something? No, not October. Excuse me. like November. It was pretty early, maybe December.
It was November, or no, it was December because it was after
It was December
Monty.
because yes, because his 1,000th game, he hadn't been in St. Louis very long, and that was the Winter Classic. That's right.
Hmm.
So way before the trade deadline, still, they found a guy out in Anaheim that they thought fit the you know their current roster at that time, and the team they were trying to build, the style of game they were trying to play. They went and got him, and I think it in a lot of ways was, I mean, obviously it was the big move of the season, but like in a lot of ways that turned their season around. The Monty hire was a big reason for that as well, but like having a guy like Cam Fowler up at the top to really let everyone else shuffle down where they belong. Like Nick Leddy wasn't looking good at all, and had been injured, and Ryan Suter was able to take on some big minutes and really just fill that role um, as as well as you could expect out of him. I think he surprised some people with just being pretty solid. But anyways, um, I yeah, I think Cam Fowler has an argument for like team MVP. We talked about um,
Hmm.
we talked about that in our like end of season awards episode, I think. But um, yeah, really loved what we got out of Cam Fowler. Um, looking at some of his stats now, and this is a guy obviously I think Blues fans are pretty familiar with the profile. Defensively, he's fine, but his value really is coming on the offensive side of the puck. Um, so yeah, thoughts on Cam Fowler's season, and he's got what, one more year left on his contract. Some people thought that you know maybe it'd be time to go ahead and extend him given the performance he put up this year. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Fowler, and would you extend him?
Yeah, I do want to talk Fowler extension, and please weigh in the chat on this too. I'm very curious to hear where fans are about it. I wrote well, okay, I'll get to the extension stuff, but first, Fowler had an awesome year. I mean, I think that's doesn't take an expert to say. Not saying I am an expert, but he. Do you know what his 82 game pace was for points
Mm-mm,
under Jim Montgomery? It
mm-mm.
was 58 points, which would have put him
Phew.
10th in the league, just behind Adam Fox.
Yeah,
Like,
not to mention like not to mention his point pace in the playoffs. That was insane.
yeah, yeah. Not to mention being the best Blues defenseman of all time in when the lights get brightest.
That's
That we
right.
just seem to forget about with Cam
Yeah,
Fowler.
for real.
Just so inexplicable for a 33-year-old to
Just out of nowhere.
look like this, but Um, I think with Fowler, yeah, he really likes to do a lot of stuff. He likes to carry the puck. He likes to shoot the puck. He likes to pass it. He likes to dump it in. He likes to, yeah, just do a lot of things. But that really works for a very chaotic style of hockey under Jim Montgomery, which is a controlled chaos. Like it isn't just fully, what I call Montreal Canadiens like um real chaos on the ice. It's a much more controlled chaos, and Cam Fowler works so perfectly to that. He's like the perfect like WD-40 for this Jim Montgomery machine that just it may not be the Robert Thomas that's like the central gear that makes everything turn, but he's exactly what can help like advance it and make it such a such a dangerous weapon. I
Yeah.
mean, that Dylan Holloway pass, which was one of the highlights of the season, is exactly emblematic of this point. To where, if you don't remember, Fowler retrieved the puck down low behind his own net. Holloway was at the neutral zone and started to turn and burn, saw an opportunity. Fowler lifts it and like just puts air under it and perfectly leads
Saucer pass.
Holloway on a breakaway. Yeah, well, it was in the air.
Oh yeah.
It was like completely over everybody.
Yeah.
There's a word
Oh
for that
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
forgetting. But and it catches Holloway on the breakaway, and he's got one on one and scores. I am super like he was so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
The real question is, can he do it again? And
Hmm.
that is a real question because it was just so inexplicable. Yeah, Hail Mary. It was
Yeah.
just so inexplicable that he was able to be this good, like 10th in the league. He was pacing to be the 10th best defenseman by points, not by an advanced analytic, by points in the league under Jim Montgomery. That's like, and not to mention what he did in the playoffs. That's real production. I think Blues fans are right to have some hesitation that he's going to repeat that level of play, especially given his age. All he's got now is to beat Father Time, and Father Time is undefeated. So there's an expectation that Fowler isn't going to be the 10th best defenseman in the league, but if he's like, I don't know, top 25 scoring close to 50 points like that
Yeah.
and can maybe even break 50, I mean, that's real legitimate top pair. That's the piece for Colton Parayko that he's been missing for so
Hmm.
long.
Yeah.
Is that you didn't have anyone to pair with Parayko's greatness, and now they just complement each other so well because you've got Parayko's finishing and defense, and you've got Cam Fowler's playmaking, and they perfectly match what the other person lacks. That it's just this beautiful match made in heaven of a top pair defense um, pair. That's so much fun to watch. So, do you extend Cam Fowler? There's real cases for and against it, and it's such like I wrote a piece on Bleed and Blue about this earlier today. You should check it out if you haven't. But I basically made a case for both sides, and the case against Cam Fowler is also pretty strong in that he's gonna be 34, and Doug Armstrong, an aging defenseman, signing extensions or signing contracts, don't have a good track record. And not only that, but he would be the oldest defenseman that Doug Armstrong has signed. I mean, not counting like Ryan Suter, to 1 year deals, to like a long, not long term, because it probably would be like a 1 or 2 year deal, to be honest. But to an extended year, an extended deal, he would be one of the oldest people to do it. Now he outproduced, Faulk and Krug and Letty and all these other guys, but that being said, not he's still an older defenseman. That's not there's no guarantee of him playing at that level for even next season, let alone further seasons signing him.
Hmm.
Um, Furthermore, I see a question. There he does have a little bit of a history of missing games. There was the
Had some.
shortened season, but
Yeah.
in 2019 he only played 59 games. In 2018 played 67. For the most part, and especially recently, he's been upright. However, last season also missed some time with the Ducks before coming back and getting traded.
Hmm.
Um, and the other component too is just what then happens with Philip Broberg, because that could be a potential roadblock for Broberg's development. If he can't get the ice time that he needs, you know, to become the top pair guy we all think and want him to become, next season or the season after next would be the perfect time for Broberg to fall into that role at 24 years old. Um, for that to be pushed out another year or two for Cam Fowler could be potentially harmful to his development. So, do you extend him? It is such a fascinating. Um, I like. I
It's
don't
tough
know
to
what
know
to
what
do
to
with
do.
this. Yeah, I don't know where to take this. So I'm gonna let you bat lead off here. But Cam Fowler's awesome. Love watching him as a Blue. He's gonna have an awesome season this year. I don't know if he's gonna be 10th in the league in points again or pacing for it, but
Right.
I bet he could hit 50 points, which would be an incredible season. And I'm all for watching Cam Fowler this year.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing a full 82 from Cam on that top pair. And then yeah, like you said, just a match made in heaven with Colton Parayko. It feels like they've been playing together for a long time somehow. What I really like about Cam Fowler is sort of, as you pointed out, at least anecdotally, he just is really great at generating those like first assists, right? He um, whether with his skates or his passing ability or his speed or whatever. I really like what he's able to do with generating offense that way. So shout out Fowler. In terms of extending him, this is something that I think we talked about maybe a month or so ago as well. It is really tough to know what to do. I think I would be willing to extend him definitely another year. Like I wouldn't have any issues with a 1 year extension provided it's at a reasonable value. Um, 2 years maybe, but like after that, no, I'm out. Just because like 33 this year. He will be 34 in December. Um, like I think he's still probably got a couple solid years left, if we're being honest. And as long as the value is fair and it's something in the like $4 million range, four to $5 million range, something like that, I don't really have an issue with that, to be honest. Anything more than two, I'm out. And I probably am actually for a 1 year extension at least. I just don't know if he takes that because he does have
Hmm.
a few years of hockey left in him for sure. So I'm like, I am reasonably like I am for a contract extension within reason, provided it's not too long and the value is fair. And I think that might be a cop out to say it like that, but that's my take. I really like Cam Fowler with Colton Parayko staying for such a long time. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to uh, keep someone around who meshes so well with him. Um, but that's my stance on Fowler. Now you're up, and you're gonna have to pick a side, Alec.
Yeah, I think I see the reasons. Well, okay, I see both sides of it. I think I personally probably wouldn't extend Fowler, but it also depends a lot on Fowler's camp. I would wait and see. So I would wait and see how this season goes as a big indication where my thoughts could change. If he has another season like he did this past year, I would absolutely extend him. But I think I would wait until next offseason before the July 1st deadline, to see if you could get an extension done, if he continues at the same level that he's playing, which I don't know is super likely in my estimation. Excuse me. Um, so I probably personally wouldn't because I am a Broberg believer. I think he's ready for the top pair soon. He wasn't ready this past season in his first or second real season of NHL play, but he didn't look that far off. And now he's going to have or three full seasons under his belt. I absolutely think he can be ready to step in, with Colton Parayko and just lock down the opposing team's uh, blue line, or lock down the blue line against the opposing team. Um, and yeah, their extensions, Holloway and Broberg, are forthcoming. They'll be here a long, long time. So I do kind of want to maximize that contract more than I would like Cam Fowler's contract. So personally, I wouldn't, because I'm just really worried about that aging regression coming at any moment, and I don't want to lock into anything. I think the Blues have enough pieces to figure it out, and or sign like a different veteran option for cheaper to eat up minutes than to give Fowler an extension. However, again, caveat, my thoughts could change because I would wait and see what happens this coming season to fully make that decision of
Yeah,
whether or if to let him walk. But right now, I am leaning to let him walk, just because he's really up there in age. And I think if he takes a slight step back this year, then that's an indication of things to come. And so
yeah,
then you're really playing with fire, extending him for another year.
yeah. And I think to clarify a little bit, if the Blues let him walk. Like I don't really have an issue with that. Like I don't have super strong opinions about Cam Fowler. I just like his fit, um, and I also don't mind if they do want to say, like you're saying, wait and see if he plays all 82 or like shows no signs of slowing down or anything this year. Then you know maybe it makes sense to keep him around. But um, I get the concern, and there's a history in St. Louis of keeping some veteran defensemen around for too long. So yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I think either way. Um, but yeah, I think I like the wait and see approach because it seems like Cam Fowler likes St. Louis. I don't think he would
Mhm.
really really you know put a damper on contract negotiations if you wait and see. Just because I have confidence that the relationship is good there. But um, yeah,
Yeah, and I think the other thing is we haven't heard anything from Fowler's camp in terms of
mm,
extensions. So we don't really know how he feels. I mean, we've gotten the kind of basic quotes of "I love St. Louis, it's great," and he really did seem genuine about it. I'm not trying to
sure, yeah,
belittle that at all, but I think how he feels, if like you said, he feels like he does have a little bit more good hockey in him and wants to sign a 3-year deal, it's probably not going to be with the Blues. So that'll take him to the end of his career, which he could absolutely want to do. If he would rather stay in St. Louis, but this is all speculation at that point. So it's um, what does Fowler want? We just don't know, and I think that's a big part of this discussion too.
yeah, for sure. Um,
Yeah,
why don't we pivot now? Because you started to bring him up already. I think this would be a good time to
take your segment, John.
to go ahead and pivot to my man, uh, Philip Broberg. If you've
Paid a
watched
man.
Note News for a while, you will know that I am Philip Broberg's biggest fan. I think it probably started out as like a bit, to be honest. But like I've even convinced myself. Um, I love defense. I love
Pavlov, Broberg.
yeah, he's he's just one of those players that I love watching play. Like there are players that are really good that I recognize as good and I like, but might not have the best time watching them play. Like Philip Broberg is just a lot of fun to watch. I think watching his hockey IQ, watching his brain as especially on defense, like you can sort of well, you can't really like you can't see the wheels turning because it seems like he most of the time just knows what to do and is sort of on autopilot a lot of the time. So I really like his decision making. I really like his hockey IQ, especially on defense. Um, yes, Rob, I do have a man crush on Philip Broberg. You are not lying there. But yeah, just I've spoken ad nauseum about how much I love what Philip Broberg brings. And I think I'll make this point for anyone that hasn't heard it before. He didn't have like a standout year in the points column. He had a good year, 8 goals, 21 assists, 29 points. I'm not saying that he didn't have a good year, just not a standout year in the points column. But I think he's still one of the most valuable offensive. I mean, on both sides, honestly, one of the most valuable uh, players on the ice because of how he impacts the rest of the team, whether it is uh, defense and sort of closing gaps with his skating, with his body, with his stick, whatever. He sort of sets a great example that way. But offensively, I think he does a fantastic job, especially with his skating and with some of his passing ability as well, but mostly his skating, to be honest. Really, really does a great job generating offense for the Blues. So that's what I love about Philip Broberg. Um, I
I
hope
kind of want to
he's,
ask you.
yeah,
I kind of want to ask you what your. I know you love Broberg. I've heard about it once or twice.
once or
I
twice.
want to ask you what your expectations are for Broberg this season. Do you see him taking a step forward? Do you see like a sidestep lateral move? Is there like a points threshold you're looking for? Or do you think like is there a way that his defense could somehow get better? Playing with the teammate, like whatever it is, like what are you looking for in Broberg most this season?
Um, just just keep doing it. You know, As long as he's out there, I'm happy. No, yeah, no, I think that's a great question because while he does while he does help the team generate offense, you know, on ice, I think I would like to see him grow in the points column. Like, I think if he's going to be a top pair guy, he's going to have to be able to assist more goals, score more goals, all that stuff. So, what do I want to see out of him? I want to see some growth on that front. I want to see him take more shots, shoot more goals. Like, he had a couple solid slap shots, a couple solid wristers from you know from the blue line area, from the top of the face off circle, that kind of stuff. That looked really good, and I'd like to see him take more chances that way. Um, you know, Things like Dylan Holloway's first goal as a blue, right? Philip Broberg essentially created that by like just skating through three or four opposing skaters. Like it was beautiful to watch, to be honest. I tend to wax pretty poetic about Philip Broberg, but like I want to see some more of that. Using those weapons that he has to really become a factor, not only for his team but like as an individual. I think I really like team first players for sure, but I think there's more in the tank for Philip Broberg. That's what I want to see out of him. What am I expecting to see out of him? I'm expecting to see. I mean, to be honest, like I don't know that you can get much better than Philip Broberg defensively. I think he's one of the best in the game. Let me just another stat pull here. At 5-on-5 for defensemen with at least a thousand minutes of ice time, guess who leads the league in on ice goals against per 60? It's Philip Broberg. He
That's
did a
crazy.
right, right. He's above Jordan Spence, Mikey Anderson, Vladislav Gavrikov, Chris Tanev. That's the rest of the top five. So like 1.39 goals against per 60 when Philip Broberg is on the ice. He shuts it down. He shuts it down. He is that man. So, anyways, I don't think you can get much better defensively. I just want him to go out there and repeat on that side of the puck. Um, you know, there are times where I think he might hesitate to make a decision. I know I talked about when he's on he when and he's on autopilot. He tends to make the right decisions. There are times when I think he hesitates, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe clean it up uh, in that regard. But otherwise, like I'm happy with what he's providing on defense. Offensively, um, I think he probably will take a step offensively, put up some more points, probably more in the assist column than the goal scoring, and I'm fine with that. But really, like if Cam Fowler does move on after this year, and if Philip Broberg is the one to take over on the top pair, which I think he's perfectly capable of becoming that player. I think he's going to need to generate some more offense in the points column. So
Yeah.
does that answer your question?
Uh, yeah, I guess. Yeah. Um, no, I appreciate all that. That's really well put. I don't have a ton to add. Just, I guess for me, I could see Broberg offensively not really scoring as much. I know he put up 8 goals this season. I could even see him scoring like 5 goals next season. But I do think those assist numbers come because, like you said, he did have a lot of plays where he was just like the last touch away from getting registered to a point. And like someone mentioned in the chat, kind of lost his confidence after he got injured and it took him a while to get back. So if he doesn't suffer another like gruesome lower body injury, and he can be on that torrid pace like he started off, um, I think that absolutely, Broberg is set for a big season, and extensions are incoming. I know that's been a lot of the talk of the chat. These guys are going to get extended. That's all I can say. I don't know how much or when. I would probably sign him to like a 6x8 or a 7x8, and yeah, no trade clause I think is warranted for players of these age. But yeah, I love Broberg, love what he can be for this team long term. I think that's the most exciting thing is Broberg next season. Broberg last season was very good. Broberg
Mm-hmm.
next season will probably be very good. Broberg in like 4 seasons is going to be incredible. So Paid a man.
Yeah,
But
I think that's a discussion we've had as well. I think we're both in favor of a long-term extension. Do you give him a no trade clause? That's been an issue for Blues with defensemen um, in recent memory. Um, I
yeah, but
think
this is different.
this yeah, he's young. You're right. Yeah, I think I probably would. Like
I would.
and I'm a little biased, but like I would pretty much just give him what he wants. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think he's going to be so valuable for this team for such a long time. Um, okay, do we want to pivot to his partner now, Justin Faulk?
Yep.
I think the question with me for Justin Faulk is like, well, first of all, do you think he'll still be in St. Louis in October? I think probably yes. I think at the beginning of the offseason, it wouldn't have been crazy to see him traded. But at this point, it feels like, if a move was going to happen for him, it probably would have happened already. I wouldn't really be surprised if he got moved necessarily, but like, I think he's probably sticking around, at least to start the season. I think the big question with him, though, is like, what would it look like for you to be pleased with the overall like Justin Falk situation? Like would it have to be he's off the team by the end of the season? Would it be something related to his performance? I don't know. Like, do you know what I'm getting at here? Like, what would you need to see
I
with
hear
the
you.
the overall situation around Justin Falk to be, you know, at the end of next season, pleased with where it's at?
Yeah, I mean the best case for me is that Lindstein moves up to the second pair probably, or they go out and get another Cam Fowler to replace Justin Falk or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it would be best case would be probably finding a trade partner mid-season or something. I really thought a move was coming this offseason, but given Doug Armstrong's quotes that they're done for the offseason, seems like he's going to be on the team next year. So I'm
Yeah.
going to assume that he's going to be on the team next year. And I with Falk, his defense is just at a level where it's really hard. You can have a Cam Fowler who's an offensive defenseman, but who's still responsible enough to not be a black hole defensively. Justin
Yeah.
Falk kind of is a black hole defensively, and offensively doesn't provide a lot either. I think under Jim Montgomery, he will do better than he has under probably previous coaching regimes, but I still think that the upside is pretty limited. He's entering his age 33 season, which his birthday is March 20th. Okay, so he'll be 33 for the entire season, pretty much. And yeah, if he can be a plus, like if he could get his plus minus positive, I know that's not always the greatest stat, but with a player like Justin Falk, he eats up a lot of minutes, and I don't think I don't think there's much of an upside. I think we know who Justin Falk is, and having him on the second pair is not ideal.
Yeah.
Um, trying to talk myself into it. I think we've all seen it before. We know what we're getting. It's not unplayably bad like Nicoletti was last season, but it is not good either, is what I would say.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not gonna defend Justin Falk really. I think I think he is. I guess maybe I am gonna defend Justin Falk a little bit, a little bit. He
Go for
gets a
it.
lot of hate, but I think
He
there
does.
there's this tendency for not just Blues fans. I think it's a sports fandom thing in general. Like there's always kind of like the poster child of here's who we hate right now. It seems like there's one player on everyone's on every team that people seem to like want to hate, and I think right now it's Justin Falk. Um, in a lot of ways, it's deserved. I mean, I don't know if deserved is the right thing. I think the issue is he's overpaid. That's not his fault. He signed a contract. He was able to negotiate that for himself. He hasn't played up to that for sure, especially in recent years. But like, I think I think he is a fine, NHL player. Um, so I mean, I'll say that, but I'm with you. I think the Blues are better off without him, to be honest. It just seems like right now he is just filling a spot. Like he is just there because because there's not a better option. So yeah, I mean those are my thoughts on Justin Faulk. I mean like the Philip Broberg pairing worked well enough that um, at least defensively that Justin Faulk's like on ice numbers still look decent, defensively speaking. I think having a guy like Broberg on his other side helped him on that front. But yeah, I mean he's definitely not. I think his days in St. Louis are numbered or few, and I think rightly so. But um, I just without an upgrade, I just don't see Falk as on the move. Um, but what changes did we get with his contract and his
I think it's a
move
15
clauses?
team now.
Let's
Instead of
see, 20.
10.
So it updated to a modified no trade, 15 team no trade list um, this year, and then um, next year same thing, 15 team no trade. So we got more options now. It'd be great if they could find a trade partner for him, but they have playoff hopes, they have playoff expectations, and so um, again, they're probably not going to replace him unless they can upgrade him. So I think for me to be pleased with the Justin Falk situation, it's A, they upgrade before the end of the season, or B, he he has a better year than he's had in a long time. I'll just leave it at that. Um,
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more discussion to be had around Justin Falk, but
Yeah, I think the Justin Falk conversation has been had for
yeah,
a few years now.
yeah, for sure. Why don't we move on to the third pair now? Do you wanna end with Mayu or start this one with Mayu here?
I'm getting a little antsy. I want to talk some Mayu.
Let's talk Mayu. Yeah,
I
so
got a lot to
obviously
say.
I'm looking forward to it. I'll tee it up and then I want to hear what you have to say. But yeah, Logan Mayu, obviously the most recently acquired defenseman for the Blues, traded Zach Bolduc to the Montreal Canadiens to get Logan Mailloux on the team. We've done a couple episodes really focusing on Mailloux as well as some of the other additions. So go check those out if you haven't already. We reacted to the trade pretty soon after it happened, and then we had a guest on Mike Meyer, who does a lot of great Blues coverage. So you should check him out if you haven't. But we had Mike on to talk Mayu, and so those were great discussions. If you want to hear what we have to say around Mayu in depth, go check those out. Um, but yeah, like, what do you want to see out of Mayu this year? What are you expecting to see out of Mayu this year? I think on our last episode we talked about who has the most to prove. Logan Mayu was in that discussion. He I think is probably in the top five just because of what it took to acquire him. And I think what I said at that time was what I'm looking for him to prove is just that he's ready for the NHL and that he's graduated from the AHL. I think that's a fair expectation. I don't think it's fair to say come in and become the greatest offensive defenseman on the team. That's not a fair expectation for a guy as young as he is. But really, if he can just prove that a third pair role is right for him, and that he's ready to be in the NHL and start to take some steps at that level, then I think that's a win for me. But let me hear your thoughts on Mayu.
Yeah, Mayu is a really exciting young skater. He has got some serious upside that the Blues haven't had. I mean, I guess you could say Gitacek is probably up there, but in terms of what you're looking for out of a defenseman, if you want offensive ability, Mayu's got it all, and that's absolutely. a strength of his game is how he's going to contribute to the offense specifically.
Hmm.
Now, his defense is really, really raw and is honestly pretty bad.
Yeah.
When he is one on one with the defender or with a puck carrier or in his own zone with the puck, there is a lot that needs to be coached up into him. You're hoping that one of the best coaches in the league can take advantage or can um, better implement him into his system and can take advantage of his skill set to becoming a better player, because the other side of this discussion is that Logan Mailloux with Jim Montgomery, I think, is going to be a beast. He has so much offensive potential in a way that the Blues haven't seen like since Petro. Truthfully, I think he's up there in terms of like a chance to be a truly great offensive defenseman. I mean, I think he could be what Cam Fowler was last season, putting up 50 points. I think that's the high end of what he, Leighton Hudson had what 66 in like a record-setting rookie year. But I truly think Mayu could be, you know, Lane Hudson esque. I don't think the same player at all, but like
Hmm.
the same style of play and ability to generate offense, because what Mayu is really good at is he's really good at moving the puck in transition. He's really good at carrying the puck, which is a rare ability I think um for his position. And then scoring, he is able to score with the best defenseman out there. Last season with the Laval Rocket had 12 goals in 63 games, um, which was among the best of defensemen. And when he got his cup of coffee with the Canadians in 7 games, had 2 goals. So
Hmm.
scored 4 points in 7 games. That's almost, if you want to take a 7 game sample size, that's half a point per game. That's 41 point pace. But um, Mayu under Montgomery is going to turn heads, I think. I think there's going to be some bad losses on defense, but if you want to talk about like a best case scenario for like a Justin Faulk, it's to be what Logan Mailloux could be this season, except for the fact that Mailloux is 22 and gonna be 22 for the entire season. His birthday's in April. So I mean, he's still on his like entry level contract and is still set to really like I know he's not going to get the minutes because he's going to play on the third line, but I think he could really lead this team when he's on the ice. I think this is going to be one of those just like head turning players where you have to respect what he's doing. Again, there's going to be bad losses, but his offensive upside and the way that Jim Montgomery uses defensemen, I think we are going to see an explosion from Mayu this season, and especially beyond this season. I think into like next season is when Mayu's really going to put it all together. I think this season, if he gets like half a point per game, that is an excellent, excellent season. Um, and next season and beyond, Mayu could be a top 10 goal scorer on this team. Probably will be a top 10 goal scorer on this team. Cam Fowler, or sorry, Parayko obviously led the way with 16. I don't think Mayu is going to get up to that height. Cam Fowler was next with 9. I think Mayo can outscore that this year. I think he can get double digit goals.
Hmm.
That's the type of offensive player you're talking about in a 22-year-old.
Yeah, I think the thing with him is playing time. I think if he plays enough, he can definitely get there. I think the issue is not being such a liability that he's able to get that playing time. So I don't think that's a crazy expectation. I think if he's able to play serviceable, uh, you know third pair hockey, then yeah, I like that. I like that projection a lot. I think that could be awesome.
And it
Um,
sounds like he has a role on the team. Army's
yeah, for
comments were
sure, for
that
sure.
he has a job. He just has to not lose it. And I mean, if it's between him and Matt Kessel, there's no question. No offense to Matt Kessel.
Yeah, for sure. And then as a couple people pointed out in the chat, um, Doug Armstrong has a fantastic track record of identifying young talent that turns out to be better than expected, and I think in a lot of ways he has earned the trust of the fan base when it comes to young talent and prospects and things like that. And so um, he wouldn't have given up a guy like Bolduc, as some people said in the chat, if he didn't think Mailloux could be a dude for sure. So I agree with that line of thinking for sure. And I think given his age and given the timeline for defensemen, this is a point we've made as well in the past. I think the like the final, I don't know, final review or final grade of this trade. I don't think we can give it yet. I think it's going to take some time before we know what Mailloux is, and I think it'll probably take him more time um, to sort of develop into a you know develop into who he will be long term, and so I think it's unfair to put too much pressure on him this upcoming season for that reason. But
Mhm.
um, any last thoughts on Mayu? You want to talk about Tucker now?
Yeah, let's do it. I just think again, Jim Montgomery knows how to unlock these guys, and if
Sure.
Doug Armstrong was targeting him, like the 8 ball, odds are pointing to yes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well let's talk about Tyler Tucker, who sort of established a role for himself. Um, I think he surprised a lot of people, myself included, um, playing some pretty serviceable third pair hockey up in St. Louis. I think at the
Very
beginning of the
serviceable.
yeah, for sure. At the beginning of the season, I think we talked about Matthew Kessel being more likely to play that role of the young guy on the third pair, and we didn't really see Tyler Tucker as a big factor for this team. It sort of went the other way around, right? And Tyler Tucker was the one who got the spot come the end of the season. I think he earned it. He's not going to be a huge factor scoring or anything like that, but he's just a solid young defenseman. In let's see, 38 games played, he scored 3 goals, 4 assists. I think he was. I remember, was it in the first round of the playoffs against Winnipeg? I think it was either then or late in the season. I can't remember exactly, but Tucker went down and like left the game or something, and it felt like a big blow at the time.
That was against Winnipeg. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the reaction to that is a testament to you know the steps that he took this season and the role that he was able to play. The fact that a young third pair guy like that who doesn't really score all that much, really at all, the fact that losing him felt like a big blow, I think was significant for him. So, yeah, really
Hmm.
liked what we got out of Tucker. My question to you is, um, how can he make this season a success? What do you want to see next from him?
Well, I just have to mention the highlight from Tucker of the year was when he was set
Yes,
to
yeah, this
set
Utah.
to yep, have a fight off the face-off dot, but quickly was like, hold up, I gotta rip this shot real
Yeah,
quick, and just blows it past their goalie for a goal.
that was
Like, oh
awesome.
man, I would have been so upset if I were the other guy. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, Tucker's a dog, and he's not like an enforcer, but he can hold his own, and he'll defend his teammates when the time comes, especially for his size. Like he is absolutely what you want to see, and I think Tucker raised his stock in my eyes from being a like a good third pair defenseman to actually like, excuse me, I think he could play on the second pair long term and be a very solid defensive defenseman. I think there's a lot of upside with Tucker, not offensively. I don't think offensively he's ever going to net you even 30 points probably, but defensively Tucker is really really sound, and he's really really good in transition. Like he just makes really smart sound plays that I am it's like
Hmm.
the who I forget who I say this about, but it's like sometimes I just don't notice him at all, and I really love that about him. I really
Yeah.
love how not worried I am when the puck is near Tucker or the puck is on his stick or anything like that. Sometimes he's just kind of, I don't want to say forgettable, but it's really just a sense of ease when he touches
Mm-hmm.
the puck or when he's around the play, because you know he's not going to make any dumb mistakes like ever. And for that reason, I think he could be a really, really solid second pair defensive defenseman, which I never thought that he could reach those heights anyways. So if Tucker can fill in on the second pair, that gives playing time for guys like Yidacek and Lindstein coming up. Obviously, you've got Mailloux. That would be a huge step in his development for, when Broberg probably eventually gets elevated to the top pair and when Faulk probably eventually gets off this team. You never know; they might extend him again. But
Stop.
but um, Tyler Tucker is a. It was honestly like maybe it was a year of surprises, so I can't say he was the surprise of the season because there were a lot of surprises last season. But in a normal season, would have been the surprise of the year to me, and I am a huge fan of how he plays and the hits he brings and the
Yeah.
fights that he gets into, and he is just a gritty, fun to watch, fun to forget about defenseman.
Yeah, I think I like that assessment a lot, and I think for a third pair guy, um, you can't really ask for much more. I think if he's out there and you don't really notice him, that's probably a good thing. Um, you know, it's he's not expected to be noticed offensively. Like that's not really his game. So if you did notice him, it would probably be because he's messing up somehow. So if he's not doing that, that's a win in my eyes. But yeah, um, do you want to just briefly cover some of the D prospects at the top of
Sure.
the top of the system, like Theo Lindstein, Adam Juracek? Um, Lindstein is set to play North American hockey, I think, for the first time.
Hmm.
So I think he's getting close. Really, really solid guy. I I've sort of made this assessment before a few times, but um, I think just all around solid. Uh, has good tools. Nothing really stand out. The biggest standout thing to me about Theo Lindstein is just how solid he is. To be honest, so yeah, I mean Juracek as well. I think I would just like to see him stay healthy for most of the season, if not all of the season, um, and just show us some of that offensive potential. Like that's a big part of why he was drafted, and if not, the whole reason. And so, show us that you've still got it, and yeah, just carve it up and um, just take that step. I think they could really use another guy like Juracek, like Mailloux. Um, that would ease, I think, a lot of concerns about the future of the blue line. So, yeah, I'm just looking for them to take some more steps and just get that much closer. But I don't have a ton of like strong opinions about these guys. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Lindstein, Juracek? Anyone else come to mind?
No, I think those are the two. I think um so I think Yudacek had a fine season. I don't think he had like an amazing season. Um Suffered another sort of freak injury, but he has been now injured for two of the last 3 years pretty significantly. Both to the lower body. Both were like total fluky injuries. It wasn't like he's just made a paper or anything. It's like falling on angles weird and getting hit in the same spot that he fell on. But I do think with Udacek, he had an okay season. He registered 12 points in 27 games for the Brantford Bulldogs. Um, and yeah, I think I'm with him. I think he's a little bit further out still. I think he could use some more time to develop playing another year, either in the CHL or maybe he gets a call up midseason to the AHL,
Mm-hmm.
which that would be a really big step in his development. I don't know if he's ready for it yet, but I hope he can get there by season's end to play in the AHL so that next season he could probably get like a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And you'd like to see him become more. He could really use a coach like Jim Montgomery, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would really thrive under Jim Montgomery, but there isn't Jim Montgomery in lower levels of hockey for him right now.
Yeah.
And I think there is some deployment issues with Udacek too.
Yeah.
Lindstein, on the other hand, I think Lindstein is awesome. He reminds me a ton, um, actually, of Colton Parayko,
Mm-hmm.
of a puck mover, solid defensively, just overall solid. Is never gonna, or at least like early career Colton Parayko, never gonna excite in any one area, um, but is just super locked down and really good at getting the puck out of the defensive zone into the hands of a playmaker in the neutral zone, aka playing in transition. Um, and with Lindstein, I think he could also become a second pair guy. I don't know that he has the upside to become what Parayko is. That's why I don't think the comparison is perfect. I think Parayko is just a lot more developed, a lot more polished, and um, bigger, and plays smarter than Lindstein. Not to say Lindstein doesn't play smart; he plays very smart, but I don't think he quite has the upside to be a top line or top pair defenseman. I think in his best case scenario, he's a really good second pair defenseman. And I think that's really solid still to have that in your organization. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's just so like kind of like we were saying about Tyler Tucker. You never watch this guy and think, what is he doing? Every time you turn on the tape, you see a really trustworthy puck mover who can disrupt offensive plays.
Yep.
So I'm probably more excited about Lindstein than I am Utachek.
Yeah.
I think there's more to work with there at the NHL level. Like I think that type of game projects better than Utachek's game, which is a little bit more boom or bust style of play.
Mm.
Um, and like I said, I think Yannicek is a coaching issue above all else. Also, he's got to stay healthy. Whereas I think Lindstein, all he has to do is just prove that he can hang at the AHL level, and I think we could see him this season, probably towards the end of the season in just a cup of coffee. Like I'm only imagining 5 to 10 games for Lindstein this year, but I think he could play in the NHL by season's end.
Mm. That would be exciting for sure. See how he looks. I like that assessment a lot. I don't have much to add. Well, this was fun. This was a great preview of the blue line for the Blues in the upcoming season. I think we're gonna take this group by group and maybe look at the forwards next. Maybe have a more brief goalie discussion as well. But I think the forward core is the next big discussion on this front. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already as well, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are super close to 500 subs. I think we're like 5 away at this point. Pulling it up now. 4 away. We're getting there. So hit that button if you haven't. That goes a long way. 500 subs is
Whoever
the.
subscribed on this episode, thank you.
Thank you. Shout out you.
And the 495 who already subscribed. Thank you,
Yeah,
too.
and the others for sure. But 500 is the first threshold for monetization. So we just want to, go ahead and plug that. So just help us get there. We really appreciate it. Like this video if you haven't already. Follow, rate, review. We're on Spotify and Apple. Those ratings and reviews go a long way. They really help push the podcast out to other people who might be interested. So we appreciate those that have done that already. And then follow us on socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Note News Pod, where we post a lot of other great content. And go check out Deal in the Cards for great Cardinals content. It's trade deadline, so I have not listened to any of their reactions yet. I don't know if they've done it yet, but if they haven't
They had
yet,
a whole big live stream for the trade
okay,
deadline.
yeah, go check out all their trade deadline coverage. They're the best around for Cardinals coverage. I think that'll do it for us this time. Thanks to everyone for joining on this episode of the Note News Podcast. We'll see you next time, and let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues.